With the effects of the coronavirus sweeping across the world, I'm getting asked what's the effect this is going to have on the property market and how long are these effects likely to take place. So today I want to answer that question. You only have to take a drive down to Coles or Woolworths, try and buy a roll of toilet paper to realise just how crazy the world has gone with this latest outbreak of the coronavirus. Now, how's this going to affect the property market? Really depends on how you look at it, but today I want to run over a couple of key sort of principles and what I've seen. First of all, when we do see these big sort of economic shifts in the market or any sort of major change happen, people have a tendency of holding their breath and not actually acting and doing anything. We see this often in the lead up to elections. We saw this with the Royal Commission into the banking sector. Whenever there's uncertainty, people seem to just sort of breathe in, but then eventually the time comes where people just can only hold their breath so long and they breathe out and business returns to normal. So depending on really how the next couple of weeks play out will really depend on how long this sort of outbreak affects the market for. But really I can sort of see it coming to a head in the next couple of months and then business returning to normal. So I don't think the effects of the coronavirus are going to be long lasting. I think we will sort of get to a point where as a population we'll breathe out and things will keep moving forward. Now on that note, real estate really is driven by supply and demand. So demand from buyers wanting to buy property and supply from people wanting to sell property. At the moment, what we're seeing is a really large reduction in supply. So people are not wanting to sell their properties at the moment. That's because there is that uncertainty. They don't know, will they get the prices that we were getting in December or won't they? So they're holding back. This has really been reflected in our open home numbers. Going back to 2019, this time last year, the amount of open homes in the Cairns region was 423 properties were open Saturday this time last year. Heading into this weekend, that number's dropped down to around 323. So that is about a 27% drop in properties that are actively being sold. So that's a real big, a 1 in 4 reduction of properties that are actually available for purchasing. We've also seen buyer numbers start to drop off at our open homes. So buyers are not as active in the marketplace. But like I say, I really think this is going to be quite short term over the next 1 to 2 months as buyers sort of start to feel out what's actually going to happen moving into the future. Sellers start to feel what's going to happen into the future. And then we will get a bit of a coiled spring action as people that were planning on buying this year breathe out and start buying. And sellers that were planning on selling this year start to put their properties on the market. And what will also happen here is a lot of people are upgrading or upsizing or downsizing their properties. So these people, once they put their properties on the market to sell, will actually become buyers themselves. So I think we really will start to see the market free up and continue to move again in quite a short period of time. And when the market does free up, it will start to become a race for those that get their properties on the market first. We'll see the benefits of doing so. So it will be a bit of a timing game. The other big consideration to take is interest rates. Interest rates have just been slashed again and are currently at record low levels. The official interest rate, the official cash rate is currently sitting at 0.5%. What this means in real terms is that interest rates on offer and the money you can actually borrow from the bank are at sub 3% rates. I saw one bank offering 2.68% owner-occupier rates and 2.88% investment rates recently. And that was one of the major 4 banks. So there's really competitive rates out there. What this means is if you were borrowing today versus a year ago is you have so much more borrowing power for the same sort of spend. And that's really going to provide a big stimulus for the market. So to compare going back to 12 months ago when people were borrowing at 4%, if you were borrowing $500,000 at 4%, that would essentially be costing you $551 a week. Now, for that same $551 a week, if you're at a 3% interest rate versus a 4% interest rate, you can borrow $565,000. So that 1% interest rate drop means that you can actually borrow $65,000 more and pay the same repayments. So that really starts to put upward pressure on property from both the investment market and the owner-occupier market as money becomes extremely cheap. The other thing to take into consideration is if you are borrowing money at, say, 2.8%, inflation in Australia has historically sat between 1 to 2%. So you're really only paying 1 to 2% actual interest rates once you take into inflation. That's probably a topic for another day, but an important factor to take into consideration. So moving forward, I think the market may have a little bit of a short-term blip as we do see the effects of coronavirus take place. But I think the lack of new supply coming to market will offset the reduced number of buyers, and we will sort of see a market equilibrium sort of through this next sort of 1-2 months. And then I wouldn't be surprised to see the market start to really move come the middle of the year as people take advantage of the really attractive interest rates and the high rental returns that are happening at the moment. So if you are looking at buying, I'd actually suggest putting on your face mask, getting out there and having a look at what deals are on offer at the moment. You might be able to pick up some really good sales in the next couple of months before the market then shifts back into a seller's market as people take advantage of this low interest rate environment that we're in. As always, if you do have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message, send me an email, or even leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this outbreak and what you think it might do to the market. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and have a fantastic week. And if you don't have any toilet paper, look, put a comment below. I might be willing to sell mine.